Imagine a life rebuilt. A woman forging a new path, dreams taking shape against the quiet backdrop of small-town America. She had escaped a storm, found love, and just received the promotion that would cement her fresh start. But in the cold light of a March morning, that promise was shattered. A gas station, a fleeting moment of ordinary commerce, transformed into a scene of unimaginable horror. The killer stared into the camera, a chilling defiance in his eyes, before unleashing an act of brutal, senseless violence. 23 years later, the silence surrounding Leah Rollins' murder still screams with unanswered questions. Who was this phantom in broad daylight that even NASA couldn't help to find, and why did he choose Leah as his victim? Welcome, true crime lovers. Today we delve into a case that defies logic, a murder captured on film, yet shrouded in impenetrable mystery. If stories of unsolved crimes, baffling evidence, and the relentless pursuit of justice intrigue you, then you're in the right place. Don't forget to hit that like button if you want to see more deep dives into the unknown. Subscribe to our channel and ring the notification bell so you never miss an episode of Whodunit True Crime Stories. And please, share your thoughts in the comments below. Could you crack this case? Let's get started. Monday, March 10th, 1997. The small town of Cozad, Nebraska, population under 4,000, awoke to the crisp chill of late winter. Most residents, accustomed to unlocked doors and quiet nights, felt a sense of peace in their secluded haven. For 41-year-old Leah Rollins, this morning was particularly significant. Just yesterday, she received a well-deserved promotion to manager at the Amoco convenience store where she worked. It was more than just a job title. It was a tangible symbol of the new life she was meticulously building. Leah was probably thinking to herself, manager position. It sounds good. It feels right. After everything, I finally have solid ground beneath my feet. I deserve it. Leah's journey to Cozad was one of quiet resilience. Born in Pennsylvania, she had spent much of her life in Arkansas, navigating a large family and eventually a tumultuous marriage to a man named Barry Rocap Sr. Together, they owned a restaurant in St. Thomas, a seemingly idyllic setting that concealed a dark reality. Leah endured years of physical and verbal abuse, a silent battle waged behind closed doors. Her sons, Brannon and Brian, were her anchor, her reason to fight, in a daring act of self-preservation. Leah orchestrated an escape, taking her 2 boys and a portion of what she believed was her rightful share from the restaurant. She wrote a searing 16-page letter, a testament to the abuse she had suffered, a desperate plea for her sons to understand why their lives had been uprooted. This letter, penned a year before her death, would later become a chilling piece of the puzzle. Mid-1996 brought a new chapter. Leah met Bob Haar, a part-time dispatcher for the Cozad Police Department. Their connection was immediate, a balm to her wounded spirit. Bob offered kindness, compassion, and the promise of a secure future. For Leah, it was everything she had longed for. The move to Cozad, though it meant distance from her sons in Arkansas, was a leap of faith into a brighter tomorrow. Twyla, Leah's co-worker, said, "She was a good person, happy and friendly. I don't know how anybody could hurt her. She used to tease me about my accent, and that starry-eyed look she got whenever Bob's name came up." Leah was falling in love not only with Bob but with Cozad itself. The quiet town, the sense of community, the fresh start it offered. All of it felt like a dream finally coming true. But dreams, as we often learn, can quickly turn into nightmares. The clock inside the Amoco station ticked steadily towards 10:30 a.m. Leah, radiant in her new managerial role, was assisting a female customer and her child. Outside, a red Pontiac Grand Am, a 1993 model, its California license plate somewhat obscured, pulled up to the pumps. The driver, a Caucasian male, stepped out. His attire was notably peculiar for the low 50-degree temperature sweatpants rolled to his knees, and no shoes. He filled his tank with just over 17 worth of gas. At approximately 10:30 a.m., a 1993 red Pontiac Grand Am, bearing a partially obscured California license plate, arrived at the Amoco station. The driver, a shoeless Caucasian male dressed in sweatpants rolled to his knees. an unusual choice for the 50-degree weather, proceeded to pump just over $17 worth of gas. Inside, Leah, in her new managerial role, was assisting a female customer and her child. As Lee finished her transaction, the barefoot man entered the store. He moved to the back, lingering near the coolers, a strange calm about his movements. Investigators would later theorize he was simply waiting for Leah to be alone. Then, he performed an act that would etch itself into the minds of detectives. He pulled open a cooler door, lifted a bottle of soda, unscrewed the cap, and began to drink. A few moments into his drink, he lifted his chin, his gaze falling directly onto the surveillance camera. A chilling, almost taunting stare, before he continued to chug his soda. At 10:32 a.m., the man approached the counter, placing his soda down as if to pay. There was no audio on the surveillance tapes, but Lee's actions clearly indicated she was being directed to open the cash register. Without hesitation, she complied, removing approximately $150 in cash and handing it over. The robbery was complete. The man had what he came for, but then, a chilling command, Lee was instructed to lie face down on the floor behind the counter. She did so, offering no resistance. The transaction, the robbery, was over. He was free to leave. But for reasons that defy comprehension, he chose a different, lethal path. After a few seconds of unsettling stillness, the man reached into his front right pocket. He produced a 9mm semi-automatic pistol. Leaning awkwardly over the counter, he arched his back, pointing the gun down at Leah, who lay vulnerable, unaware of the horror about to unfold. 3 shots rang out. The first 2 struck her left arm, the third, a fatal blow, entered the left side of her head. In less than a minute, the killer snatched a pack of cigarettes, a lighter, and the soda he had been drinking, along with the cash. At 10:34 a.m., he calmly walked out of the store, got back into his red Pontiac Grand Am, and drove away. The surveillance cameras captured his departure, but the footage of his license plate was too grainy to decipher. A crucial piece of evidence, lost to the limitations of 1997 technology. Years later, efforts to enhance the footage, even by NASA, would prove fruitless. Police were alerted when another customer entered the store, found no one at the counter, and then made the horrific discovery. Investigators swarmed the scene. The surveillance footage provided an unusually clear view of the killer, especially his taunting stare into the camera. Multiple fingerprints were recovered from the gas pumps and counter, seemingly a full set. Yet, at the time, no matches appeared in any law enforcement databases, suggesting the killer had no prior criminal record. Detective Miller's on scene, Graham said, "We have his face. We have his prints. We know the car." Officer Davis, shaking his head, says, "But no plate, and he's just gone, like a ghost." Roadblocks were set up, passers-by questioned, but no one had seen or heard anything significant. The red Grand Am seemed to have materialized and then vanished into thin air. Given the gas station's proximity to I-80, the prevailing theory was that the killer had simply driven onto the interstate, disappearing into the vast network of roads. But which way, east or west? With such limited leads, the case began to grow cold far too quickly. In hopes of generating new leads, the Cozad Police, led by Chief Alan Baldwin, turned to a relatively new avenue in 1997, the internet. Still photos of the suspect were posted online, alongside a description of the killer and the crime. A $12,000 reward was announced, $2,000 from a local citizen, and an additional $10,000 from Amoco Petroleum Products. They even considered bringing in a hypnotist to help potential witnesses recall submerged memories. Chief Baldwin, to a reporter, determined, "It's our vehicle to pump information out to other places in the United States. We're hoping someone is going to get on the internet and say, 'I know who this is.'" A week after Leah's murder, roadblocks were re-established and drivers questioned again. Sergeant Greg Tetley explained their belief that people follow routines, hoping someone who drove by that Monday morning might return and recall something previously deemed insignificant. Despite these efforts, and multiple supposed leads, the bizarre and disturbing crime remained stubbornly unsolved. 3 months after Leah's death, a ray of hope appeared. America's Most Wanted announced they would air a segment on the case, including the surveillance footage. Within days, over 30 tips poured in. Each lead was meticulously tracked down, but yielded no results. The case, already chilling, continued its descent into the frozen realm of the unsolved. The Cozad Police Department enlisted the assistance of the Nebraska State Patrol and the FBI. Hundreds of flyers bearing enhanced images of the suspect were distributed around Cozad and along Interstate 80. The reward for information climbed to an impressive $22,000. Yet, the progress remained at a grinding halt. FBI agent to local police, Sumbut said, "We're looking at several suspects, but nothing concrete. It's like he just vanished." For 6 long years, silence enveloped Leah's case. Then, in February 2003, an anonymous tip brought a flicker of warmth to the ice-cold investigation. The tipster, having seen a rerun of the America's Most Wanted episode, recalled a strange conversation from 5 years prior, a year after Leah's murder. A friend, then living in Omaha, had casually mentioned shooting a convenience store clerk in 1997. The tipster provided a first name, though with uncertainty. This ignited a fire under the Douglas County Sheriff's Office, who focused their investigation on North Omaha. But despite their earnest attempts, they could not locate the man described. The tips were vague, the identity uncertain. Was it a case of mistaken identity, or had the tipster fabricated the story? As quickly as it had heated up, the case went cold once more. By 2015, 18 years after Leah's murder, police were no closer to identifying her killer. While law enforcement leaned towards the crime being random, Leah's brother Roy held a very different, deeply unsettling conviction. He believed Leah was the victim of a professional hit, orchestrated by none other than her ex-husband, Barry Rocap Sr. Roy Rollins to ABC News, his voice filled with pain and certainty, said, "I think he was behind it. Because of the kind of person he is. A very dishonest person. The guy who killed my sister comes into that gas station with clam diggers on, pants rolled up to his knees. That's not what people in Nebraska do. This guy is in Nebraska, which is not warm, comes in with his pants rolled up. That tells me he was from St. Thomas, the Virgin Islands. And I think my brother-in-law paid him to come up and shoot my sister." Sergeant Tim Kosternick of the Dawson County Sheriff's Office did not outright dismiss Roy's theory. Sergeant Kostelnick to ABC News, thoughtful, said, "Knowing her past, digging deeper into her past, and what she did, I could see how he could be so frustrated if she took money from him and left him the way that she did. But have him executed." Leah's ex-husband passed away in 2015, taking any potential secrets he held to his grave. While the hitman for hire theory remains a compelling possibility for many, there has never been enough evidence to firmly link Rocap to Leah's killer. The man on the tape, the barefoot killer, seemed to have evaporated into the same anonymity from which he emerged. His fingerprints have never yielded a match in the decades since, leading investigators to grim conclusions. Either he has never been arrested, or he died not long after Leah's murder. Today, the murder of Leah Rollins remains open, cold, and a profound injustice for her family. Her 2 sons grew up without knowing the truth of who took their mother, or why. A $5,000 reward remains in place, a silent testament to the hope that one day, answers will emerge. Sergeant Kostelnick, despite the passage of time, remains resolute. Sergeant Kostelnick, determined, looking off into the distance, said, "We are never going to give up on Leah. It's our duty and obligation to make sure we follow up on every potential lead. I would hope that he is somewhere close, because I hope to live to see the day to look him in the eye and tell him he's caught." This case baffles investigators for multiple reasons. Why did the killer act with such brazenness, in broad daylight, showing his face directly to the camera, yet leaving no clear, identifiable trace of his vehicle? Why did he murder Leah, who complied with every demand, offering no resistance? Was it to eliminate a witness, or was the murder the primary motive, with robbery merely a cover? The casual manner in which he left seemingly unconcerned about speed or further concealment, is unsettling. This wasn't a panicked getaway. This was a calculated departure. The investigator, frustrated, leaning over a desk, said, "He didn't just walk out. He sauntered. Like he had all the time in the world." Detective, muttering, "No rush, no fear." It's almost contempt. The odd choice of items taken, 150. A soda he was already drinking, a single pack of cigarettes, and a lighter. Why not more cash? Why just one pack of cigarettes? These seemingly trivial details add to the perplexing nature of the crime, offering no logical answers. It seems to suggest either a chaotic, unhinged mind or a calculated attempt to throw investigators off. The random theory, the known assailant theory, and the hitman theory each have their merits and their flaws. If random, the level of brutal violence is still inexplicable for a simple robbery. If known, why no sign of recognition from Lee? If a hitman, why such a public and careless display? The killer did not wear gloves, stared into the camera, and then awkwardly leaned over a counter to shoot someone who was already subdued. It defies the typical efficiency of a professional. What if his gaze into the camera wasn't defiance, but resignation? What if he knew his life was already over, and therefore, the consequences of his actions held no weight? It's a dark thought, but one that adds another layer to this chilling enigma. The tragic story of Leah Rollins serves as a stark reminder that danger can lurk even in the most unexpected places, at the most unexpected times. While we often associate violent crime with the cover of darkness, Leah's murder in broad daylight shattered that illusion of safety. One of the main lessons learned of this case are vigilance is universal. No matter how safe your environment feels, always maintain a level of awareness. Crime is not restricted by time of day or location. Surveillance is a tool, not a guarantee. While surveillance footage can be invaluable, as seen in Lee's case, it is not always a perfect solution. Technology has advanced significantly since 1997, but clarity and identification can still be challenges. The unpredictability of violence, Leah's compliance did not save her. This highlights the terrifying reality that in some instances, violence is not about resistance, but about the perpetrator's intent. Here is some advice for personal safety: trust your gut. If a situation or a person feels off, listen to that instinct. It's better to be overly cautious than regretful. Know your exits in any public place. Be aware of your surroundings and potential escape routes. Report anything suspicious. Even seemingly minor details can be crucial in an investigation. If you see something, say something. The murder of Leah Rollins remains an open wound in Cozad, Nebraska. For 23 years, her family has lived with the agony of not knowing. If you have any information, no matter how insignificant it may seem, please contact the Cozad Police Department, the Nebraska State Patrol, or the Dawson County Sheriff's Office. Every piece of information could be the one that finally brings justice for Leah. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the unsolved. If this story resonated with you, please give us a like, share this video, and subscribe to Whodunit for more compelling true crime stories. Until next time, stay safe and remember, the truth is always waiting to be uncovered.